Hello all. In today's video, we shall be discussing about India's nuclear energy program. In order to secure the country's long-term energy independence and to fulfill the country's energy requirements, Homi Bhabha, who was a well-known physicist, had formulated a three-stage nuclear power program for India in the 1950s. And he thought that by using uranium and thorium reserves found in the monazite sands of the coastal regions of South India, the energy requirements of the country can be fulfilled by developing the nuclear power program. And the ultimate focus of the nuclear power program was to use the thorium reserves of India to its maximum potential so that it can meet the country's energy requirements and also secure the country's energy independence. And therefore, Homi Bhabha had given to the nation an ambitious three-stage nuclear power production plan. Because of the fact that India has the world's third largest reserve of thorium, the three-stage nuclear power production program put forth by Homi Bhabha had been conceived with the ultimate objective of utilizing the reserve of thorium-232, which was available in vast quantities in our country, to its full potential. But it should also be kept in mind that thorium cannot be used as a fuel in its natural state. It is necessary that it be converted into a usable fissile form, which is possible only after a series of reactions. And in order to convert the thorium available into a usable fissile form and to eventually produce nuclear power from its thorium reserves, Indian scientist Dr. Homi J. Bhabha drew the roadmap of the three-stage nuclear program. And we shall now discuss in detail how the three-stage nuclear program was formulated. In the first stage, pressurized heavy water reactors were to be used to produce energy from natural uranium. Now, the pressurized heavy water reactors do not just produce energy, they also produce fissile plutonium called Pu-239. In the second stage, a fast breeder reactor, basically in which the neutrons are not slowed down, rather wherein fast neutrons are used to generate more fissionable material than they actually consume, and therefore they are called breeder reactors. So in the second stage, the fast breeder technology would use plutonium-239 recovered by reprocessing spent fuel from the first stage and natural uranium, and uranium-238 present in the fuel transforms to additional plutonium-239, and after the surplus plutonium-239 is obtained, the second stage will be blanketed with thorium-232 to produce uranium-233. The final stage of the cycle would involve the use of plutonium-239 recovered from the second stage in combination with thorium-232 to produce energy and uranium-233, another fissile material, using thermal breeders. And this production of uranium-233 from thorium-232 would complete the cycle, and uranium-233 would then be used as a fuel for the remaining part of the fuel cycle. So this is basically the three-stage nuclear power program which was formulated by Dr. Homi J. Bhabha to make India independent in terms of energy and also to meet the long-term energy requirements of the country. So far, we have discussed the three-stage nuclear power program of India. We now move on to discuss how can nuclear energy be used to combat climate change. The first way in which it can be used is that nuclear energy, because of the fact that it is low carbon and can be deployed on a larger scale at the time scale required, and it is also because of the fact that it can supply clean, reliable and affordable electricity, it is a better substitute for fossil fuels, and therefore we have to reduce the dependency on fossil fuels in order to reduce the greenhouse gas emissions. So, because of the fact that nuclear energy is low carbon and can be deployed on a large scale, the dependency on fossil fuels has to be reduced in order to reduce the greenhouse gas emissions. The second way in which nuclear energy can be used to combat climate change is that when compared to wind and solar energy, the amount of carbon dioxide that is emitted by nuclear energy with respect to wind is same per unit of electricity, and in comparison to solar energy, it is 1/3 of the emissions per unit of electricity. And therefore, this shows that nuclear power plants produce no greenhouse gas emissions during their operation, and over the course of its life cycle, like I said, it produces the same amount of carbon dioxide emissions per unit of electricity when compared to wind energy, and 1/3 of the emissions per unit of electricity when compared to the solar energy. Thirdly, because of the fact that nuclear power is reliable and can be deployed on a large scale, if we are to actually in reality achieve deep decarbonization, that is to keep the average rise in global temperature below 1.5 degrees Celsius, it makes it necessary, rather mandatory, to employ nuclear energy and totally discard the use of fossil energy to meet the energy requirements of our nation. One of the greatest challenges faced by humankind in today's world is the consequences of climate change. And therefore, it is necessary on everybody's part to employ and contribute to the development of the technology that can be used to solve this major problem that is being faced by all of us. We cannot afford to wait, because the impact of the climate change will affect the most vulnerable and the poorest countries and people. Therefore, it is necessary that most immediate action be taken and put in all the efforts so that we could at least, if not mitigate or prevent, at least reduce the consequences of climate change. And the nuclear industry recognizes the scale and immediacy of the challenge and the important role that all low carbon energy sources must play. Only if we employ the necessary technology that is required to lessen the consequences of climate change can we achieve the goal of having a greener planet, the goal of achieving deep decarbonization, and then pass on a cleaner planet to the future generations. We now move on to discuss the model question with respect to the topic that we have discussed so far. The model question for your practice is: give an account of India's nuclear energy program. How can nuclear energy be used to mitigate current climate challenges? I hope you found this session valuable. If you liked the video, do comment, share, subscribe, and like the video. Thank you.